What is a chargeback on a credit card or dispute, and how can you reduce these as a merchant, and what are the real costs? Because it costs you more money than you think as a merchant. If you're a consumer, how do chargebacks affect you? If you're familiar with chargebacks and you just want to get to the good part about how to prevent them and how to reverse them in some cases, you can jump ahead about 2 minutes in the video. We're going to give you a little brief on what chargebacks are first. Chargeback is a process where a consumer, somebody who buys something on a credit card, can dispute the charge under a number of premises. They could say, look, this was a fraudulent charge. I never placed this charge. Somebody stole my credit card number. They can call it defective merchandise. They could say that I bought this product and it didn't work when I got it. They could say that I bought the product and I never received it. I never got it in the mail. It was never shipped. Never received the product. Or they could say something like, it didn't match how it was described. I received the product, but it wasn't what it was supposed to be. And there's different chargeback codes that consumers use. When a merchant receives a chargeback or dispute notification, they're given the information from the consumer, the date of the charge, the amount, and the reason code the consumer has given, and also usually a little narrative. The consumer will write out a little story. I bought this thing and it was supposed to be green, but it was blue. Or I bought this service and they didn't follow through, whatever it is. And they have put a dispute. Now the merchant responds to that dispute, and the financial institution makes a decision on who's right and who's wrong. Now, in the meantime, the minute a consumer files a dispute, the money comes out of that merchant's bank account immediately, pending the disposition of the case. So if you're a merchant, you get a chargeback, that money's coming out of your account today, and there's usually a chargeback fee that's added on top of it, $25, $30, $50. So you lose more than what you sold. So now, if you sold, let's say, a $400 surfboard, and you ship that surfboard, and somebody files a chargeback, you lose the $400, the surfboard's gone, and you lost $25. So you're really in the hole, and that's what's called financial damage of chargebacks. They're unseen variables. There's even more losses than that, because you probably have to pay a commission on that sale. You probably have to pay taxes on that sale. You probably have to pay for overhead to process that sale, maybe shipping. In addition, you now have a chargeback response expense. You have somebody have to spend an hour doing research and writing back to that financial institution. The costs are much more than the penalty levied against your merchant account. It's easy to see the direct fees. There's several additional costs associated with the chargeback that harm your business's profitability. So how do you avoid this? Well, first, if you are a merchant, you want to avoid getting a chargeback in the first place, because for every $100 lost as a chargeback, the actual cost is $240. And Loss Prevention Magazine has a document you can download, Hidden Costs of Chargebacks, that will document it even more than that. But here, we're going to talk about what to do if you get one, and how to improve the probability that you're going to get it reversed. All hope is not lost. If you get a chargeback, don't give up. You want to respond no matter what. Even if you think you're going to lose, you want to respond. We'll talk about why, and we'll talk about how to create a response that maximize your chance of winning. We have some clients that we work with that they win 70 or 80% of their responses to the chargebacks. They only lose about 20%. And that's important, because if you lose too many, you can start having money frozen in your merchant account. They'll keep a reserve account because they think you're going to get more chargebacks, and they start putting your account on hold. And if you have too many, they'll cancel your merchant account. Now you're out of business. So here's what you want to do first. Once you get a chargeback, you want to assign somebody to that response. It needs to be a person of responsibility. It can't just be a clerk or receptionist, somebody who doesn't know about the inner workings of your business. You want to be somebody in a position of authority. Now, that person may reach out to some administrative people to gather information, but you want somebody as a point leadership position to craft the response. First thing you want to do is write a narrative of the facts. No opinions. On this date, Joe Schmo ordered this product. This date and time. Here was the amount. Here's what they selected. If you have a customer agreement or something they checked off, get copies of all that. You want to get copies of your terms and conditions and look at the relevant parts of it. You want to get your shipping information. On this date, the product was shipped to the customer. It shows being delivered on this date. It was shipped USPS. Here's the tracking number. Just gather up all the facts first. Next, you want to look at your customer contact records to see, has that customer ever been in contact with you before or after the transaction? Are there emails? Are there customer chats? Are there phone calls? Are there voicemails? You want to gather up all of the communications from that customer and put those in your investigative file. Next, what you want to do is start doing research on the data. What was the IP address that it was ordered from? And you want to document that. What was the shipping address? Do you have copies of any customer IDs, warranty cards, email addresses? Put all that in your customer file. Now you want to do an internal or external investigation, and you're going to investigate that case. Is it truly a case of credit card fraud? Do you believe that somebody used that customer's credit card number if it was as fraud? How do you do that? Well, backtrace their IP address. Does it backtrace to their neighborhood, or does it backtrace to China? Does it backtrace to another part of the country? That will give you an idea. Then what you want to do is see if any of the communication from that customer indicates that what they're saying in their chargeback is false. What you're trying to do is see, is there anything in that chargeback narrative, that chargeback questionnaire, that's a false statement by the customer? Because if it's friendly fraud and the customer's trying to get something for free, you want to know that. If you have a customer that truly has been kind of neglected or got the wrong thing, you want to fix the problem. You want to serve your customer well. But if the customer is trying to get over on you as a business, you want to know that as well. You want to know how to deal with that person. Are they acting in good faith or not in good faith? If the customer truly got the wrong product, you can offer to replace it. You can offer for them to send it back. If it's been damaged, you want to get photos and documentation. You may be able to file an insurance claim. But you also want to look to see if any of those facts are true. Check out their social media. If you sold them a surfboard, is there a picture of them on Instagram surfing on that surfboard 2 weeks after you shipped it? Is there a picture on Facebook of them bragging to their friends about their new surfboard? Then you want to send a letter to the customer and make sure you get good legal advice on doing this and how to word it. And you want to tell them, we're doing an investigation. It seems like you have some issues. We're glad to help. Here's what we found so far. We found on this date, you ordered it. On this date, we shipped it. It was delivered on this date. Looks like you called us up a couple days later and asked a question. How do you adjust the temperature on the product or whatever? So it seems like you got it, and you want to send back a response. You don't want to accuse them of anything, but just show what data you have. Here's why. Many customers that submit a friendly fraud chargeback don't believe you're going to do anything about it. They just figure you're just going to roll over and play dead and just eat the loss. If they see that you have documentation and you put in your wording of your letter, it seems like some of the statements don't seem to match up the facts. Here is your opportunity to reply, giving your side of the story, and give them an opportunity to write back. Many times, if you send them that letter, which kind of lays out that some of their statements aren't true, and you dispute the chargeback with the merchant, they may be the ones that roll over and say, well, I don't want to push this any further because I might get in trouble. Most friendly fraud chargebacks count on the fact the merchant is not going to do anything, because maybe they've done it before. You want to be the merchant that does something. Is it going to take time? It is. It's going to take you an hour or two to put all this together. Once you put it all together, you want to also prepare a report to send to the merchant account, whatever your merchant bank is that handles your credit card, the one who sent you this dispute notification or this chargeback notification. And you want to put the facts on the first page, put a little bullet point of what all the facts are, what all the attachments are, and make sure it's on the first page. Resolution requested. We request this chargeback be overruled. We request that this chargeback, this dispute be reversed in favor of the merchant, meaning us. You want to be very specific that based on the evidence and facts, you are requesting the chargeback to be reversed on the first page. Don't bury it down 10 pages later. You might have 15, 20 pages of evidence, phone calls, chat logs, emails, shipping information, terms and conditions, product pages, whatever it is. You don't want to have them have to go down and find your request. You want to put it on the first page in a box. We request this chargeback be reversed. And you can find more information on our website about this. And you want to send it to the merchant bank. Now, the timing of this has a few different strategies. You could send it the same day you get it right away to have a quick response. Usually you have a pretty good amount of time to respond. You may have 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes 5 weeks. The chargeback itself, the dispute reply, will have a date. You have to reply by a certain date. Make sure it gets there before that date. But you want to also time it based on what you think the customer's going to do. If you want to wait to hear what the customer says, maybe wait for that, because maybe what the customer says is something you can add into your dispute. If they write back and say, well, I got my product, but I just didn't like it. Well, if their dispute said, I never got the product, well, now you can show that there's a conflict in their statement. So you might want to wait a little bit. The other thing that you want to consider, this is kind of harsh, and you only want to use this sparingly. If you believe that your customer actually received the item in good faith, and they put that they never received it, or they never got it, or they don't know about the charge, or they're unfamiliar with this transaction, if you have evidence to show otherwise, maybe it's social media showing the product, maybe it's a warranty registration on the product, maybe it's some other information. Then what you want to do is send a letter to that customer with a picture of the product that says, look, we are canvassing your area because we have been notified that there might be a credit card thief in your neighborhood stealing people's credit cards to buy products. We hope you weren't a victim of this credit card fraud. Keep your eyes out for this product and have a big picture of whatever it is that was purchased from you. Red surfboard, exactly what was ordered. If you see this product in your neighborhood, let us know immediately so we can notify the authorities. Now, if your customer was truly a victim of fraud, they're going to be happy that you're looking out for them to try to catch the thief that stole their credit card. If your customer was just really trying to get a free surfboard and they get this letter, they might be a little hesitant. Especially if you put in the letter, we also intend to send this out to some of your neighbors or pass this along to your neighbors so they can be on the lookout too. Because many times a credit card thief will steal mail from people's mailboxes in your neighborhood. So you might have other neighbors that are victims. So we're trying to look out for your neighborhood. It's a little bit sarcastic, a little bit kind of passive aggressive, but if you believe that your customer is trying to steal from you, this is a way to try to nip that in the bud. Remember, get good legal advice about the wording and how you do this so you're not harassing anybody. But chargebacks are a very serious expense to businesses, and consumers who do this, once they do it once or twice, they kind of get the hang of it and they'll do it more. Maybe to you, maybe to another company. Also, if you do not reply to a chargeback at all, even if you're going to lose, the bank sees that you just don't reply, and maybe you admitting guilt that you have these chargebacks. At least if you reply, when you do have disputes in the future, they see, no, this company has good documentation, they have good records, they care about this. So if there's a gray area, if you have too many chargebacks, or maybe if you have one in the future that kind of could go either way, if that merchant account bank looks at your previous responses and says, look, this poor business is getting hammered by these friendly fraud chargebacks, so let's see if we can maybe turn the tide. I can tell you right now, the individuals who work in the merchant account dispute departments, they hate two kinds of people. They hate fraudulent merchants that are scamming people, but they also hate consumers who are trying to use the chargeback process to get stuff for free. Nobody likes a scammer, whether it's a consumer or a business. There's an individual person, human person, or maybe a group of people that are looking at these cases. And if you can show that you're the good guy and the client is trying to do something in bad faith, now they're on your side. You don't always win, but you'll win more times than you would if you don't try at all. Spend the time to do it, document everything. What you'll also find as you do these investigations is you might find reasons the chargeback happened. Maybe they sent a complaint or asked a question and they never got an answer. Maybe they contacted customer service just to get information on, some accessories, and they never got an answer back. You might find some things internally that'll help you run your business better, that will sell more, happier customers, repeat business, and also avoid the chargeback in the first place. If you do get a customer who is threatening to file a chargeback or asking for a refund, get it in writing, get it documented. You should have a refund request form where they have to fill out their reason for asking for the refund and sign it and send back to you. Here's why. If they don't send it back to you and then they file a chargeback later, you can tell the bank, look, we offered them to request a refund and they never did. And that could go in your favor, because part of the questions they have to answer when they file a dispute or chargeback says, did you contact the merchant? Did you ask for a refund? And if they didn't, and you can show that, that might help you. If they do send it back, now it locks them into a story. They can't later say, well, I never got the product, if they sent you a refund request saying that I did get it, but I didn't like it. So you want to have that in writing, and you want to respond to it. If they request a refund and it's legitimate, give them the refund. If it's not legitimate, now it's a judgment call. Now you can make your decision if you want to do it for customer goodwill or, just in the best interest of your market. And you can make that decision internally, but make sure you answer them. Those are some good strategies to prevent improper chargebacks. Look, if you're doing something wrong as a business and you deserve to get disputes and chargebacks, well, now it's on you, right? If you're mistreating customers or selling bad products or not following through on customer service, that's on you. You're going to lose, and you should lose. But if you're selling a legitimate product, providing customer service, but people are just trying to take advantage to get free stuff, that's not fair to you, your employees, your other customers, because now you have to make up for it elsewhere. It's not good. And anybody who would do that, you don't want as a future customer anyway. So you're not losing a customer because you're shutting the door on them. So do it the right way. Do it with respect. Do it with, consideration for the person. But don't let them walk all over you, because that's not fair to you or the people that count on you to run a secure and profitable business. Check out the website for more info and let us know what you think.